Welcome to Vital Life Stories. Today we uncover a chilling tale of deadly betrayal, hidden behind a perfect, loving marriage. They seemed like the absolute perfect couple to everyone living in their quiet neighborhood during those early golden summer years. Arthur was a wealthy architect who adored his beautiful wife, Clara, with every single beat of his trusting, innocent heart. Clara played the role of a devoted partner flawlessly, while secretly harboring dark intentions deep inside her cold, calculating mind. The tragedy did not happen overnight, but rather unfolded slowly through a meticulously planned decade of absolute silent psychological terror. She did not want a sudden death that would easily raise immediate suspicion from the local police or his close friends. Instead, she chose a much more sinister path, involving microdoses of an untraceable poison slipped into his daily meals. Every morning she prepared his favorite coffee with a warm smile, while adding a tiny, lethal drop of pure liquid death. Arthur drank the poison willingly, believing it was made with pure love from the woman he cherished above everything else. Over the years, his strong body began to fail him completely, leaving top medical experts scratching their heads in total confusion. Clara accompanied him to every single hospital visit, holding his trembling hand and shedding fake tears for the sympathetic doctors. Society viewed her as a saint who sacrificed her own happiness to care for a chronically ill and dying husband. Behind closed doors, however, she was living a completely different reality, filled with dark secrets and forbidden romantic love affairs. Her secret partner remained hidden in the shadows, patiently waiting for the day they could finally claim the massive fortune. They had carefully reviewed all the lucrative life insurance policies, ensuring a massive financial windfall upon his eventual tragic passing. The sheer cruelty of this long game lies in the absolute vulnerability of a man trapped inside his own home. Home is supposed to be a safe sanctuary, but for him, it slowly transformed into a terrifying, silent execution chamber. He lost his ability to walk during the 5th year, becoming entirely dependent on the cruel woman orchestrating his demise. She would spoon-feed him toxic soup while softly stroking his hair, presenting a chilling portrait of domestic psychological abuse. His friends stopped visiting because they could not bear to watch such a vibrant man wither away into mere nothingness. This isolation worked perfectly into her grand design, removing any outside interference that might accidentally expose her ongoing deadly crimes. She kept meticulous diaries hidden under the floorboards, detailing the exact dosages and his corresponding physical decline every single week. Reading those pages would reveal the mind of a true psychopath, devoid of any natural human empathy or basic compassion. Her lover often called late at night when the husband was heavily sedated, dreaming of a cure that never existed. They whispered sweet promises to each other, planning luxury vacations funded entirely by the blood money they would soon inherit. The poison was a rare heavy metal compound that mimicked the natural symptoms of a very severe neurological system disorder. Doctors ran countless tests, but always looked in the wrong direction, completely blinded by the wife and her convincing performance. She even organized charity events in his honor, gathering donations and sympathy from the wealthy elite of their grand city. People praised her incredible strength, calling her an absolute angel sent from heaven to ease his terrible earthly physical suffering. The dark irony is that the angel of mercy was actually the Grim Reaper, hiding behind a beautiful designer dress. By year 7, he could barely speak, communicating only through weak blinks and subtle twitches of his pale, exhausted face. She would sit by his bed, reading him romantic novels, while silently calculating the exact days until his final breath. He looked at her with deep gratitude, completely unaware that the glass of water she held contained more hidden venom. The psychological horror stems from this profound betrayal of basic trust within the sacred boundaries of a traditional human marriage. When a stranger attacks, you can fight back. But when your soulmate poisons you, there is no possible defense mechanism. She carefully managed his pain medication, ensuring he suffered just enough to make his eventual death seem like a blessing. The lover grew impatient, demanding faster results, but she refused to rush the delicate process she had perfected over time. Patience was her greatest weapon, allowing her to slowly drain his life force without leaving any obvious forensic evidence behind. She enjoyed the supreme power of playing God, deciding exactly when he would wake up and when he would sleep. During the long winter nights, she would stare out the window, dreaming of the vast freedom that awaited her soon. The snow outside mirrored the coldness inside her dark soul as she prepared another deadly syringe in the quiet kitchen. She mixed the clear fluid into his warm tea, watching the steam rise like a ghostly spirit leaving the room. He swallowed the bitter drink with a weak smile, whispering soft words of profound love that echoed through the silence. Those innocent words would have broken a normal human heart, but they only fueled her wicked desire for ultimate financial victory. The house itself seemed to absorb the heavy sorrow, with dark shadows stretching across the expensive vintage wooden floorboards every evening. She began packing away his old belongings long before he actually died, erasing his presence from the house piece by piece. Empty closets and bare shelves stood as silent witnesses to the slow, methodical erasure of a once great and noble man. The lover started visiting the house during the day, boldly walking through the halls while the husband slept upstairs, completely sedated. They shared passionate moments in the living room, mocking the sacred vows of marriage right under the dying victim's own roof. This extreme level of sheer disrespect highlights the profound moral decay that consumed both of these incredibly toxic and greedy individuals. The husband eventually lost his vision, plunging him into a world of total darkness, where only her sweet voice brought comfort. He relied on her gentle touch to navigate his endless night, never suspecting that her hands were covered in invisible blood. She would whisper comforting lies into his ear, promising that the terrible pain would finally come to an end very soon. It was a twisted double meaning that only she truly understood, finding sick amusement in her own dark, private little joke. The final month arrived, bringing a heavy atmosphere of impending doom that settled permanently over the cold and quiet suburban estate. She increased the deadly dosage significantly, deciding that the 10-year game had finally reached its ultimate and inevitable tragic conclusion. His breathing became shallow, and his weak heart struggled to pump blood through his severely damaged and completely poisoned frail veins. The doctors warned her that the end was near, offering their deepest condolences for her long decade of incredible personal sacrifice. She wept beautifully in the hospital hallway, burying her face in her soft hands to hide a wicked and triumphant smile. Returning home, she prepared the very last meal, a special broth laced with enough poison to stop a massive charging animal. She carried the silver tray upstairs with the graceful steps of a queen about to finally inherit her grand golden kingdom. He was awake, waiting for her, with blind eyes staring deeply into the vast empty void of his dark, silent bedroom. She fed him slowly, watching every single swallow with intense fascination as the final, deadly liquid entered his ruined, fragile system. With his last remaining ounce of strength, he reached out and gently touched her cold cheek, whispering a final, soft goodbye. "Thank you for everything," he murmured, before his hand fell heavily onto the white sheets, ending his decade of pure misery. She sat there in absolute silence for a full hour, simply watching his lifeless body to ensure the dark deed was done. The grand clock downstairs ticked loudly, marking the official beginning of her brand new, wealthy, and completely independent single adult life. She finally picked up the telephone and dialed the emergency number, forcing panic and deep sorrow into her excellent acting voice. The paramedics arrived quickly, but it was far too late to save the man who had been dying for 10 years. They ruled it a natural, tragic death caused by his long, mysterious illness, exactly as she had brilliantly planned from day one. The funeral was a magnificent event, attended by hundreds of weeping friends who came to support the bravely grieving, sweet young widow. She wore an expensive black veil that perfectly concealed her dry eyes and the slight, arrogant smirk playing on her red lips. Her secret lover stood respectfully in the back row, blending in with the large crowd of mourning family members and close colleagues. They exchanged a brief, meaningful glance across the green cemetery, silently celebrating their ultimate victory over the foolish, trusting, dead wealthy man. Within weeks, the massive life insurance payouts cleared directly into her private bank accounts, making her incredibly rich beyond all wild imagination. She quickly sold the dark suburban house, eager to leave behind the physical evidence of her long decade of silent, cruel murder. The lover moved in with her at a luxury coastal villa, where they finally lived their dark romance completely out in public. They drank expensive champagne on sunny balconies, toasting to their brilliant success, while Arthur rotted away in a cold, dark, lonely grave. But psychological thrillers rarely end with the villains living happily ever after, without some form of twisted, dark, poetic, cosmic universal justice. The lover began to notice small, strange details about her daily habits that suddenly made his own blood run absolutely freezing cold. She prepared his morning coffee with the exact same gentle smile she used to give her dead husband every single early morning. He watched her stir the cup, realizing with absolute horror that a woman capable of poisoning one partner might easily poison another. Paranoia slowly consumed his mind, turning their beautiful luxury dream home into a terrifying new prison of constant fear and deep suspicion. He stopped eating her home-cooked meals, claiming he lost his appetite, while secretly checking his own body for strange weakness symptoms. The trust they built on a foundation of innocent blood began to crumble, leaving them trapped in a very toxic, paranoid relationship. She noticed his intense fear and simply smiled across the dining table, enjoying this brand new psychological power game she created today. The ultimate tragedy is that evil eventually destroys itself from the inside out, leaving nothing but fear and profound human mental isolation. They will spend the rest of their miserable, wealthy lives constantly watching each other, waiting for the next deadly drop to fall. This story reminds us that the most terrifying monsters do not hide in dark closets, but sleep quietly beside us every night. Thank you for watching Vital Life Stories today. Please subscribe for more dark tales hidden beneath the surface of ordinary human lives.